Ack, ack, ack.
Ack, ack, ack,
Ack, ack, ack, ack.
ack.
Ack, ack, ack.
Ack, 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 ack.
So, Mars Attacks.
Mars does attack.
Here's my first thought on this film.
What's that?
I completely forgot about the pre-title sequence where inexplicably a herd of cows are on fire.
Yes.
That's a strong opening to a film.
Yeah, which I believe might be from the card set. So this movie, this is our second movie in our sort of looking at some of the films of Tim Burton, and this one is based on a Topps playing card, or not playing card, but trading card series called Mars Attacks that was horribly violent for the time. And he went, you know what, someone should make a movie out of that. And apparently it was Alex Cox, the guy who did Sid and Nancy and Repo Man, like wrote some scripts for it. And then the studio went, let's just give it to Tim Burton. Tim Burton had a guy named Jonathan Gems work on it. I don't know what else he's done, but I've seen the movie about him not getting circumcised.
Hey,
Hey. But yeah, so this is this. I think that's one of the cards in the playset is a cattle on fire, and so they went, yeah, let's open with that.
That's awesome. I recognized a few of those. So when this movie came out, I got all the playing cards, the trading cards, because they re-released them, and I had heard about them through one of the nerd magazines I used to read, like maybe like a Starlog or maybe Wizard, or it was just one of the dumb things I read when I was a preteen or something. So I had heard about this mystical, like uber violent trading card thing. So when this movie came out, I was like really into the kind of ephemera around it.
Sure.
So I remembered. So as this movie was going on, there was a couple of scenes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's from the cards. Oh yeah, that's from the cards. And that's the first time I've thought about those cards since I was 12 or whatever. It was just kind of a weird flashback.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, you can find them online in different places. Like I know Imgur or Imgur, however you say it, has a bunch of the collection of the old ones, fronts and backs, because there's a story on the back of each card as well.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's one, number 22, is called Burning Cattle.
Yeah, but more importantly, I think it's Imager, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I've heard it said a bunch of different
Oh, really?
ways.
I don't think I've ever heard it said out
loud. It's one of those,
loud.
like, I've only seen it written, Imgur, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. IMGUR, how do you say that?
I don't know. I know it's an animated GIF. Wait, is that the wrong one? I don't remember. No, it's GIF is the wrong one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, it's GIF is the right one. That's because it's graphic. Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Wow, I never questioned my assumption that it was just pronounced Imager, but you're totally right. I've never heard it out loud before.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Probably the people that founded it.
I would hope so, yeah. But,
or whatever idiots.
Where are they now?
In the
they've disappeared.
The mid 2000s, where everybody decided that we shouldn't have vowels and
yeah, just
websites.
leaving out random E's.
Yeah, like remember when Twitter didn't have an E?
No. Oh, kind of?
Yeah,
was that ever a thing? I thought it didn't have...
When Twitter first started, it was 120 characters. It was supposed to be the text message of social media. And it was like TWTTR or something like that. Did I miss the joke about Filipino New Year?
What do you mean, did you miss it?
Is that, I mean, what was that? Because he goes, was it Filipino New Year? Are you cooking up beasts? I think he says.
Yeah, because it seems like, yes, this farmer assumes that because he can smell barbecue, that the guy's cooking up a whole bunch of barbecue, and the only reason you would do that, the gentleman being Filipino, his neighbor being Filipino, is because it's Filipino New Year.
Huh.
We don't know these guys' relationships. Maybe this is he's had Filipino New Year before, didn't invite the guy this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is it's a weird thing to say.
This movie is, boy, one of the better casts that we've had on the show, right?
It's pretty impressive, just this giant ensemble piece that like once initially started with 60 some characters, but then they whittled it down to 20 in subsequent drafts, 23 or something like that. It's a Southland Tales that makes less sense if you put any thought into it. But otherwise, if you just go along with it and just ride the ride, it's a lot of fun.
I think this movie makes complete sense. All you have to do is have one caveat. So there's this theory. Jacques Vallée is the first guy I know that proposed it. Is that aliens are the same thing as the Fae or fairies from the old fairy stories? Mm-hmm. The same as like Loki, like the kind of trickster entity that'll trick you into doing things like Rip Van Winkle, make you fall asleep for 100 years, that sort of thing. If you take these aliens in that concept, that they're just here to play horribly violent practical jokes, they're not actually trying to take over the planet, this movie makes 100% sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because
Like-
there's no motivation other than just like gleeful destruction.
Yeah, which under that guise, they're great. And I forgot. It's just I fell in love with them. That it was like, oh, they're like my friends. Like I want to hang out with them and do like they're like
but
space
more
Kevin
just like,
McAllisters.
why am I hanging out with these characters? Like,
Oh,
why,
yeah.
why does the second Jack Nicholson even exist? It's fun as hell, but it doesn't make like by the time this all happens and everyone just dies, it's the whole movie seems like a whole prank, which is not a knock on the movie at all.
On the note of this movie is kind of a prank. I think that's definitely part of it. Of like it's done so with such fidelity to the schlocky '50s style that I think I had a hard time. The first act I had a real difficult time with of slotting in that even this boring stuff is fun because it's supposed to be schlocky sci-fi.
Yes,
And it's like I kind of needed to see. Like I think I need another rewatch and I would like it more. It's that. Because the first part, I'm like, just get to the fun shit. And I think that first part would be more fun. Like that opening scene in the White House the lighting is terrible. Jack Nicholson has like this awful like shadow over half of like, I don't know, an eighth of his face on a weird angle. Like it's poorly lit. And I was like, why does this look like garbage? And it wasn't until like the aliens and all that stuff. Oh yeah, because it's supposed to be a fucking 50s movie. Like this is, a direct parody of those things. And it's one of those,
right.
You can't put your finger on. I think I kind of understand why this movie is a little, I want to say diversive. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Divisive.
Jesus Christ, I couldn't.
I couldn't think of screwball comedy last time, so don't worry about it. It happens.
Yeah, but that's an obscure word. I couldn't think of just regular English. Yeah,
I guess I have that problem a lot too.
yeah, but you're the dumb one on the show. I'm supposed
That's
to come.
true. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll go back to eating soap.
yeah.
But I think this movie, going back to 12 Monkeys, the bit 12 Monkeys where he says like, the movie doesn't change, but you've changed. Because when I saw it, I was totally at that age of hot topic, screw y'all, I'm right, kind of thing. And I think that's this movie, where it's just like everyone's an idiot, so they can all die and who cares? It's fun and it's whatever. Yeah. And now I'm a little bit more of a square. And I was like, well, okay, I guess those people can die. That's fine. I feel kind of bad about it, but it's not as I don't find it as gleeful. I can't tap into that same sort of untethered id that this movie has. But I remember it, so I do still enjoy it.
I agree with you a little bit, but the untempered id is a good way to put it. But I had that, except for this time around, I felt really bad for Sarah Jessica Parker and Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, yeah. Whereas before it was just silly, but this time I genuinely wanted.
I was engaged in their romance this time around. Where we're like, oh, this is no. They were kind of good for each other. Like it was.
You deserve better than Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Everybody else was like, I don't give a shit. Like all the characters I liked didn't die. Like for the most part, it was fine. But those two, I was like, I actually feel a little bad about this.
Well, and I did still from then and now, I still absolutely adore the both actors and the storyline. The Jim Brown, Pam Grier.
Oh yeah,
storyline. Like they're both great, and one of their sons actually is I didn't realize this is Ray J, who did that sex tape with Kim Kardashian that helped Kim Kardashian become a household name.
So I don't really know who Ray J is.
But looking him up, there's apparently a movie called The Jerk 2. Oh boy, there was a TV movie.
Ugh, The Jerk
Ray
2?
Walston. The Jerk, 2, like TOO.
Oh, so he's also a jerk.
It's still Nathan Johnson. Nathan Johnson sets out to travel to Los Angeles to attend the wedding of his pen pal Marie, but is sidetracked by the leader of a gang of hobos who takes him to Las Vegas when learning of Nathan's skill at playing cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who plays Nathan Johnson?
Mark Blankfield, who
apparently forgot to fill out something when he was sending his blank field.
Yeah. Yep, I got it.
He left the field blank.
He's in a couple of. He's in Dracula Dead and Loving It, and the John Larroquette Show. Robin Hood Men in Tights. Oh, he's the blind guy in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, that guy. Wait, in Dracula Dead and Loving It, did he play Blankfield?
No.
Like Redfield?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Got it. Thank you.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah.
Insert
Martin
Tom Waits
X.
joke. No, Ray J is a name I know, but I don't like. I know him. I think I knew that there was a sex tape, but yeah, I don't know anything about him other than that.
Yeah, so I was watching this, I'm like, why does that kid look familiar? And
Yeah.
looking at
Wait,
the
wait.
credits.
Let me see his dick for a second. Oh yeah. Now it's all coming together. I just need.
Yeah,
I just need
normally
a.
I say that during every movie we
Yeah.
watch.
I just
Like,
need a calipigian woman next to him. Or heard that word. Couldn't think of
Yeah.
divisive, but remembered calipigian.
Alpigian.
Here's something I need to talk about. Pierce Brosnan is a fucking hunkosaurus.
Yeah, he's a handsome man. Apparently, that was initially supposed to be Hugh Grant, but and I can totally see that. But I think Pierce Brosnan lends it a little bit more
Much better.
gravitas,
Yeah,
which
much better.
makes it a sillier role than the obvious sort of fumblings of Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Hugh Grant's too fumbly. Although, also think he's a little cutie in a different way. But like, this is peak man meat Pierce Brosnan. It's one of those.
Yeah,
I'm
this
just
is
kind
like
of bowled over by
sexy Reed Richards. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just bowled over by how attractive that man is, and not, like, it's one of those dumb things of like, I remembered it from when I was a kid, but it's just like now that I'm like a grown up watching it, it's like Jesus fuck, like that's Anyway, he's absurd and
Yeah,
should
you
be
should see
banned.
the Long Good Friday, which is a fantastic movie with Bob Hoskins, but a very very young Pierce Brosnan has a couple of scenes in there, and he's shirtless, so have at it.
Yeah, I mean that sounds. And Bob Hoskins, talk about it.
Yeah, and I think he's shirtless in a couple scenes too. So
Ooh, hey, it's a Mario.
yeah,
That's him,
everybody
right?
do the Mario.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the two Jack Nicholson roles here, which allegedly, and I don't really believe this, but apparently, like Jack Nicholson was instrumental in getting a lot of the other celebrities to be in on this, but that when he was initially sent the script, Tim Burton was like, "What role do you want to play?" And he was like, "All of them." But I think the obvious reference here is Doctor Strangelove, whereas you have, because this was made around the time that Independence Day came out, and so like Independence Day is fail safe to this movie's Doctor Strangelove, like a more serious, what if aliens invaded? Whereas this is just absolutely goofy. But I do think unintentionally, that the two characters of the president and the casino owner guy, the synthesis of those characters are The Departed. I think if you combine those two characters, you get Jack Nicholson in The Departed.
No, you're right. Though less embarrassing in this movie because The Departed, he's
trying to be awful, whereas in The Departed, I don't know what he's trying to do.
This movie, so the one of the later scenes with the casino owner where he's pitching when with the aliens are destroying Las Vegas behind him, and he's doing a pitch.
Art Land is the character's name.
Yeah, exactly. Nicholson as the casino owner in his name.
Right.
So, and he's kind of dancing around doing his pitch. Very Beetlejuicy.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
But that's what a weird kind of alternate universe of. Imagine if he had been Beetlejuice. Really, kind of works.
Yeah, as that character. There's one particular moment, a little bit. It's like when you're first introduced to them, and him and his wife, ex-wife, Barbara, played by Annette Bening, who is absolutely fantastic in this movie. I really liked her this time around.
Oh yeah, and boy, does she look like Catherine O'Hara when she's dressed as the hippie.
Oh yeah, totally. But just like she just has all these like little facial things she does that are just send me. They're just hilarious every time.
Yeah, she's delightful in this.
She is like complaining about his business practices or whatever, and Jack Nicholson is like, keep it down. I got friends here. And he like notices this waitress and just like snaps on this smile almost immediately. That just seems like the most Jack Nicholson thing possible.
Oh yeah,
I rewound it and watched it a couple of times. It just really made me laugh.
Yeah, early in here's the tangent, but it's a good one. They established New York by showing the Twin Towers, and I remember later in the movie there's a sequence of them knocking down famous landmarks. I'm just like, oh no. Is this one of those movies? But it reminded me, I don't know if we've talked about it on this show before. I've definitely talked about it on Alex Cast. Do you remember the end of the Super Mario Brothers movie?
Surprisingly, no.
Yeah, they knock down the Twin Towers.
Ooh.
Yeah. that's the end of the film. Like, is the World Trade Center in New York getting knocked down? And obviously it's well before 9/11, but it's like, oh shit. So when they did the establishing shot, I'm like, oh no, oh fuck, this can't be one of those movies that aged. Like, I swear I would have remembered this. I mean, thankfully they dodged that bullet, but yeah, they didn't get Spider-Man. Yeah.
Super Mario tried to warn us.
Yeah, you can look on YouTube. Just look, Super Mario 9/11. It's.
I bet I can find all kinds of videos.
Well, it's like, remember that Hulk Hogan meme where he's knocking down the towers? Yeah. It's the same thing, but with Mario. He eats a mushroom and then takes out Building 7 so Giuliani can hide the $7 trillion he gave to Donald Rumsfeld.
Mm-hmm. I think I told you I used to work with a guy that was a big 9/11 truther.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh yeah. I was into it for a while, but I was always kind of. I never, went fully nut job. And when I started to meet the full nut jobs, it's like, this is actually a real good argument for it just happened. Like, you're like, right. Yeah, there's this lady that was arguing that it was a ray weapon, like this directed energy ray, which is why the buildings fell like that. It's like, I can't do it. Oh, I have a note here on the original when we get introduced to Sarah Jessica Parker in that first scene. Boy, looks like Lady Gaga.
Yeah, she's being a fashion reporter. She's very stylish. And I love how that becomes this hub of information in this movie universe where she, for some reason, you're initially introduced to her character because the president's going to interrupt her show because he's going to make an announcement about them finding aliens. But later, like, she has on Pierce Brosnan's character to talk about aliens on a fashion show.
Oh, yeah.
Because Michael J. Fox's news guy couldn't get him, and then the president is watching that show. It's very bizarre, but I got a kick out of it.
It's great. I think the scene where Brosnan comes on and they start flirting with each other, which is just delightful. And I got the vapors at this point. Her reading like awkwardly off the cards is so great. Of her like having trouble pronouncing like astrophysicist or something like that is really good. Though I'm realizing maybe that's a Tim Burton showing his hand a little bit. Same thing that happened with Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah. Well, it could just be he thinks that crap's funny, like not being able to pronounce things. Because that's like on Cinema at the Cinema there's a reoccurring joke, and I feel like Tim and Eric did the same thing, where it's the comedy comes from not being able to pronounce things.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with it. It's one of the interesting things about us doing the Tim Burton series is some of the tiny things we would never realize you can kind of pick up on because we're watching it in a row. Like, I never would have realized, mispronouncing words is one of his things, but it's like, well, at least 2 movies he's got it in. And, maybe that's something later that, we'll see in something else.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we're focusing on him for the moment.
Yeah. Well, he apparently did do a bunch of rewrites on this, but like took no credit for it in the novelization that Uncut Gems made. He dedicates it to Tim Burton saying that. And apparently so did novelist Martin, I don't know how to say his last name. Amos. A-M-I-S?
Yeah, Martin Amos, the guy that did London Fields and stuff, the English guy. Yeah.
Yeah, ask me about books.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hey, dumb fuck. His name's Martin Amos.
But yeah, he apparently did some work on it, but yeah,
really?
None of the words he wrote appeared in the final film.
Okay,
so.
Yeah. This feels very Tim Burton-y, like not just the directing style, like some of the writing feels like him. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, you also have Teenage Sad Girl.
Not nearly goth enough though.
No, but I mean, neither was Winona Ryder in Edward Scissorhands, but she was a sad teen girl.
No, she was a disillusioned teen girl because she was part of the popular club but didn't belong. She was more like a Melanie Griffith style, not like a Lydia Deet style.
Okay, well, I mean, this one is a little bit. I'd say split the difference because she does have like she tends to wear darker clothing and has like a black sort of tent on her bed. But, by the end, she's all presidential and stuff. So
I have so many weird notes. Like I just wrote 9/11 buildings, DeVito, exclamation point. Oh, which, is found funny. We've talked about this on the show before, like Alec Baldwin eating sushi in, what the hell movie was that?
I don't know.
Anyway,
in The Departed?
No, it was an 80s movie. Like 80s status symbols, or I mean, this is a 90s status symbol, but of like the yuppies, quote unquote, having cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so like in your face cell phone usage. And it's just so funny to like, it's one of those things of if anybody 15 years younger than us, there's no way they would understand what they're trying to get across with that.
Yeah.
Because just cell phones have just been their entire life.
Yeah, there's some really like weird, dark throwaway stuff in this movie, like the general played by Paul Winfield when he gets picked to meet the aliens and he's on the phone with his wife and he's I just told you if I just stayed in my place and never spoke up, good things would happen.
Yeah,
just awful, but like man, this movie does not like anybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, this movie hates the most is the family of Lucas Haas, Jack Black, Joe Don Baker, whoever played the mom. Like, it's
Olan Jones. Yeah,
no, she wasn't the mom. She was. Oh, is that Olan Jones?
I believe that's Olan Jones.
I thought there was like wasn't there like a hot sister?
Well, no, there was.
That's Christine. That's Applegate.
Well, it's Jack Black's girlfriend.
Jack Black's girlfriend. Yeah, I was thinking that was sister. Anyway, but yeah, all of them they just hate. Like he's this messed up Pyle from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, it's basically the Cinderella's family. Like everyone's just needlessly mean to him for no good reason.
Yeah, and then the sisters, like Jack Black chops his toes off in that one spot to fit in his army boots.
This crystal army boots.
Yes, but like they're all just. Man, it is brutal. Like their portrayal. Like that one part where he's like, the donuts are baked fresh 6 days ago, and the mom's like, ugh, all right, I'll take a couple. Oh, it's just unwavering shitting on these poor people.
Yeah, they hate the poors. No, they just hate this family a lot because they're jerks. With the exception of a reoccurring Tim Burton actor, Sylvia Sidney, playing the manic pixie grandma.
Yes. Now is that the lady from Beetlejuice?
It is, yeah.
Okay. This is going to be a very horny episode for me.
Oh boy.
So I was trying to I was looking at the cast list because there's so many fucking people, and I'm terrible at names. So I was just trying to keep some of the fucking actors' names because like Jim Brown, I couldn't remember either of his names. Like, so it's like, okay, at least I'll memorize the actor's name. I kept wanting to call him one of the movies it was in. It doesn't matter. I don't want to get that stuck in my head again. I ended up looking her up, and va voom back in the fucking 30s for that lady.
Sure, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess I knew she's been a long established actress, but she was like one of those, not to use your term, she had fast talking screwball comedy voice. That mid-Atlantic, like Hepburn voice.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like she's like, I guess it's not crazy. People age. It's not that surprising.
It's weird.
But the ages we are, I've only known her as this. She's an elderly actress. It'd be like finding out Mama from Throw Mama from the Train was like a bombshell. Like, like I'm just like, no, my brain can't handle this. Like you're famous for being old. Things couldn't have changed previous to that.
It's like seeing William Hickey. I saw some movie where he was young, and he's always been like the old guy. Like he's the old guy in Christmas Vacation. That's the crazy aunt's husband. The guy that blows himself up.
The guy with the real wavery, like, old man voice.
The classic. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, and I saw a movie where he's young, and it blew my mind whole.
Yeah, it's so weird to see. Because then there's some people it's fine. Like, who's the lady that plays McGonagall in Harry Potter?
Oh, I could not tell you that actress's name off the top of my head.
Yeah, real famous actress lady. But like, I was looking at her in the 60s or whatever. I think she was like a Bond girl or some kind of whatever. But she looked like her. Like it didn't make my brain hurt of like, oh, she's just
Maggie Smith.
Yes, Maggie Smith. That's exactly what she is. Mm-hmm. When you look at her young, like obviously she's younger, she's very vibrant, attractive, but it's like, no, it doesn't hurt my head to see this. That lady is like, no, you were supposed to be older. You were supposed to be like Betty White. Even when she was young, she was kind of old. Like she just said like
Betty White, yeah. I'd say the same for Danny DeVito. Because I was kind of taken for a second. I'm like, man, he's pretty young in this movie. I'm like, yeah, but really nothing has changed. He still looks.
You see him in fucking Taxi, which is what, late 70s?
Yeah.
And motherfucker looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think there's something to say about being like kind of bald and ugly young. Mm-hmm. Like not to say bald people are ugly, but like having that combo of like, because those are two pretty big signifiers of age. If you get that over with, you get Patrick Stewart style, where it's just like, yeah, you've looked the same age since the late 70s.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just this is me, baby.
I have a note that Martin Short picks up whores, which I don't remember that part.
Yeah, well, there were some rumors that was supposed to be a reference to Clinton's press secretary George Stephanopoulos. That he was, because he's a short, handsome guy. Yeah. But I also like how the presidential cabinet is like 3 people because it's just Martin Short and Jack Nicholson, and that's it.
Yeah, it was nice to see Martin Short again.
It's also nice to see Martin Short not doing his like Martin Short stuff. Like he's just playing a regular guy versus making noises.
Yeah, he's not bad in this. And there's that one scene where he's in. I mean, we'll get to it later because I think we need to focus on that for a little while. But like when he's rolling around on the bed, it's very Austin Powers-y. And I realized this is before Austin Powers, I think. So it's like, somebody stole something.
That does not make me horny, baby.
Oh, I still got horny. I was horny as hell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My whole thing is I've always wanted a fucking alien that's inside of a human suit.
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, like in Men in Black, when that tiny little 3-inch guy was like piloting a human suit. Oh, boy. Chub City.
So, Meet Dave is kind of your big one.
I've got a semi. You just saying that.
Well, I'm glad someone enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. So whatever. I think we just established most of the boring half of this film and my penis. The first Martian broadcast where like they start communicating. The fucking outfit on the Emperor Martian is everything. I don't like to use the term "is everything" because that's what the kids say, but it is the cape, the high collar, the CGI claymation awfulness. It is so perfect. Like I just like, oh, finally my movie started. Because up until they land and like people start getting killed, it's a pretty slow film.
Well, since there's all these different characters, there's all these different like establishing of these stories, which, spoiler alert, ultimately do not matter at all. They don't really come to a fruition. They just get murdered. Yeah, so there's a lot of just sort of laying groundwork, and then the aliens start to show up. And I like that, somehow they get the first broadcast, and this scientist has developed this translation machine, which sort of works. They're saying words, but they don't make any sense altogether. Yeah. And I enjoyed that. It was like, I should have written it down. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's like crossing the void and the dog space is also here. Like where it's sort you're like, I could see how that's a mystery. Like I could see how that got Google translated 3 times. That's how it came out, Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you go.
There's some differing views on where the Martians who just speak in ack, that was a temp track that someone did, and Tim Burton was like, oh, I like that, let's keep that in. But there's other people that said, no, that's the way the Martians were always supposed to sound.
Yeah,
but
it's perfect.
Like it.
I love it. Yeah,
because it's not even just ack. It's like it's this squawk. Apparently, maybe they use ducks to help make that sound. But
it sounds birdy. Yeah,
and it's always yelling, always.
Yeah. No, they set it up with the Chihuahua. It's that same level of like, oh, stop.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this? I'm not going to cut this, even though it's like has nothing to do with this movie because I only found out about it recently. Do you know about Backstroke of the West?
No.
So Backstroke of the West is Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. I think it's a Chinese translation.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That is just god awful. So what they did was they translated it and then it got retranslated back into English subtitles and they're all wrong. Like Anakin's name is like Golden Sun or something. Like it's hilarious. I can't come up with it. But somebody else, so after they translated it back to do subtitles, then they dubbed in the retranslated stuff into the movie and it is fucking gold. It goes anywhere from making you're like, I can sort of see how that got translated that way to what? How the fuck are you? Like, there's like swears or talk about humping at some point. You're like, how the hell is this possibly happening? So anyway.
Yeah, like the opening crawl is like, the space general of the Alliance is skillful. Kidnap the D, the speaker, the conduct. The proper Abruption Alliance troops tries ratio preposterous drive with the.
Yeah, ratio preposterous, I think, is Obi-Wan.
Or prosperous, yeah.
Yeah. Ratio is somebody's name. I remember that from watching it.
Yes, Senator Padme Amidala is the gets the rice or the plum of.
Oh, the plum of. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's so...
Chewbacca is Dragalong.
Yeah.
That's a great name, actually. That'd be a good D&D character. Drag along.
Well, all right. Next time we do a campaign, we're on it.
Yeah.
But everybody out there, if you're, I mean, everybody has a lot of time in their hands now. Check it out. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, so there's no real indication, and you never fully get a sense, I think, of what they were ever saying or what their intent ever was. Was it always to just come down here and fuck around everything, or did something actually spook them, or then they were like, oh, well, whatever, or was it just, we can just do this? For me, it's the latter.
Yeah, I take it as the translation worked. Because later in the film, where they're chasing people down, they're saying, don't run, we're here to help, or whatever, is, wait, I have the exact quote, because it's a great...
like, we are your friends.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, don't run, we are your friends. That's what they're saying. They're having fun translating these. Like, they're just... That's what's great about these kind of Loki people. Are just like, they're just murdered people and say, like, we come in peace, and then murdered people straight up. Like, that was their plan the whole time. They're just being asses.
Which is funny, because, like, so when the Martians turn and start murdering everybody, there is still a question about whether that's the... in the initial attack, it seems like, well, did something go wrong in the translation? When they start shooting people with ray guns and turning them alternately into red or green skeletons.
Best thing in the film, right there.
Well, initially, I guess they were supposed to be a lot more violent. Like, more awful things would happen, but, in order to get a better rating, like not an X or something, they had to, just blow people up into red or green skeletons. But it really adds to the whole 50 schlock element of it.
It's hilarious. There's some, like, the green skeleton that's, like, going by in, like a tractor that's still on fire. Like, oh, God, it's such a brilliant little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the tone of this movie is really tricky, and I don't think it always lands. Because some of the joyful kind of, like, cartoonish kind of killing stuff still feels a little mean, like, in a way that it doesn't seem, I'm not as, like, on board with it as I used to. I think it's just because I don't like or care about any of the characters. But the way that sort of cartoony blowing stuff up, like people did huge mushroom clouds of green smoke, is just wonderful.
I laughed when I realized it's red and green skeletons. I don't know why. It's so, and I bet you they had those from an old Oingo Boingo shoot. Like, you ever see that?
I mean, you do see the red skeleton sitting behind the window in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, we said it twice. I'm just reading my notes of things that are happening around the scene because I wrote way too many notes. One of the aliens steals someone's purse after the big slaughter in the desert.
Yeah, it takes Sarah Jessica Parker's purse.
For some reason, that really made me laugh. Why the fuck did he steal her purse? But that was the point of, like, oh, I'm kind of understanding these. Like, the point of this is just nonsense. Like, they're being just wanton destruction.
Well, and then when you get the first real glimpses of inside their ships, they're looking at their spoils of war, and they're making Michael J. Fox's hand walk on two fingers, and they're looking at a piece of or a lipstick tube from Sarah Jessica Parker's purse under a magnifying glass, and they twist it and it rises up, and they all get afraid. And they're all, like, nude, except for tiny underwear, which I think is hilarious.
The little red Speedos are so fucking great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the character design, which is very reminiscent of what's on the cards and of other sci-fi movies of the time, like This Island Earth. Again, it's a thing like I talked about in Beetlejuice with when Gina Davis's character is decaying and they made her face look so sad. Like, their eyes are really, like, expressive and cartoonish.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think helps to do some of the more, like, Bugs Bunny chaos versus just, these are just murderers.
Their eyes look more realistic than Two-Face's eye. One of my favorite parts of that scene is where the guy's looking at the alien's looking at a Playboy and gets all horny, and his weird like gills start flaring like he's getting like a weird Martian boner. Mm-hmm. It's so great. And what happens when he gets horny? He looks at Sarah Jessica Parker and then cuts her head off and puts a dog head on her.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's weird.
This movie is fucking strange.
And I think it's oh no, because they haven't gotten Pierce Brosnan yet, because that's not they haven't attacked Congress.
Oh yeah, because that's when Pierce Brosnan does the I think this is when he does it, where he's like talking about how it could be a misunderstanding and that whole thing. Yeah,
because mankind still thinks that, because Pierce Brosnan's reasoning is because they're technologically advanced, they couldn't possibly be barbaric. Yeah, whereas humans are.
I love that play on like that old trope of, but really, man, is man's worst enemy. But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's definitely the Martians. Martians are like 100% man's worst enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this movie 100% posits that we suck, but still, that doesn't mean we should be murdered.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I wouldn't say I think this movie hates humans, but to be fair, we do actually have a pretty good president in this movie. Like he's really he's reticent to like use any force. He's like really concerned about cops on every corner. Like he's like a really sweet man. You know?
Well, I think, I think that's easy to look back now and be like,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
you know
true.
what, that
Yeah.
guy that wanted cops everywhere was great. But I think that, he is short-sighted and venal, and, is a little bit more concerned about how things look than making hard choices.
Yeah.
I think the only they like the Pam Grier's family. They're fine, because even Annette Bening, who lives and is fine, like she's a goofball, and the movie kind of makes fun of her. The only one that like Jim Brown and Pam Grier, they're it for mankind being decent in this movie.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well.
I mean, like they're.
I mean, no, I was just thinking Lucas Haas and his grandma are both.
But like as far as being a regular ass person, I guess. Although he was a celebrity or something. But Lucas Haas is just such a weird, barely functional human being in this movie. So
yeah, but at least he got shit done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and he cares for Manic Pixie Grandma, and she's pretty great.
Yeah. Oh, she's so good in this. Like her sweet staring up at the sky, like cocked head, and getting really into her shitty music is delightful. I kind of love her.
I want to see Muffy. I want to see Slim. Which did you read the thing about Howard Stern and this movie?
No, Howard Stern was the last name I was expecting to come up.
So to skip ahead a bit, the aliens are eventually defeated by the music of Slim Whitman, because he yodels and it makes their heads blow up. And apparently, in the early days of WNBC or something of Howard Stern being on that, he did a sketch called like Slim Whitman versus the Midget Martians or something like that, and it had like a very similar idea where like his yodeling hurt people, something like that. He played it for Tim Burton, and Tim Burton kind of laughed, "Well, man, you should have sued me," but was like, "No, that's all just coincidence."
Well, I would like to go back because they both stole the idea from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes so Killer Tomatoes comes out in 1978, which I think is before Howard Stern.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 1977. Either way, it's late 1970s. The end of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, they play a song called Puberty Love or something like that. It's some really silly song. This movie's Muskrat Love, right?
I don't know what the song is there.
I think it's Muskrat Love. Either way, but I think it's some shitty song. But Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the end is you play
Muskrat
this.
Love is Captain and Tennille.
Yeah, shut up. Forget I said anything. Forget I said Muskrat Love. I don't know where that came from. But the point is the end of Attack of the Tomatoes, they play a song, possibly with the word love in it. I think it's called Puberty Love. And that makes the tomatoes shrink down, and then they can be stomped on.
Ah.
Which there's literally a scene in this where, Jim Brown stomps on the Martian set. Like, it's 1-to-1. So, but my thought was, before hearing about this Howard Stern controversy, is I wonder if there was a 50s movie where that was, a method of killing an alien that they're all referencing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always just think of the War of the Worlds. Like, turns out it's Joims that killed them all. That there's always like some secret thing, or like in Signs, when it's like, turns out they can't be wet.
I paused there because you just posited that H.G. Wells speaks in a New Jerseyan accent.
No, it's an SNL sketch.
I'm sure, but it was just it really threw me. Of why you like? I think he's English. Like why? But,
no, I'm combining two things. There's a bit where they do a War of the Worlds thing, but it's all like it's called The War of the Worlds when Tony Danza was on.
Oh, okay.
And at the end, the newscaster's like, Joims. Turns out it's Joims.
Well, I did recognize your fake New Jersey accent, so well done, John. You've done it.
Yes. We're out here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the Martians realized it'd be a fun idea to pretend to apologize, which is such a delightful little thing. So they get up in front of Congress, I like Martin Short's thing of like, well, these idiots don't want to have the legislative and the whatever house in the same room for some reason. Cut to Congress getting fucking annihilated. But I love, they go to the old lady going, they blew up Congress, and her just laughing hysterically.
Which is a total, again, that kind of like empty teenage kind of thing. That same kind of mindset of just like, yeah, like what if they just blew up Congress, man? Which then they did in Batman versus Superman. So this was very prescient.
They did it in what?
Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Well, it's Batman v, but okay, I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you.
After that scene, they have
That was a European title.
And this goes back to the Strangelove thing, but makes it look. I realize that men in suits sitting in chairs without a desk in front of them look really silly.
Yes, it is like so. Their war room, which is supposed to be again reminiscent of Dr. Strangelove, is Jack Nicholson sitting in a desk, and everyone else is just in these wheelie office chairs, and it's very, very funny.
Yeah,
it's not something that I noticed the first time watching the movie, but it does make them immediately look powerless and strange.
Yeah, we're in a non-functional map, like just like this, a logo essentially.
It's just like a drawing of the Earth, that an icon.
That part, this movie drew into right before that scene too. Just kind of made it clear to me it's something about men's fashion. Is when they go to Congress and every guy's wearing a suit, it made me realize how stupid suits are. One person wearing one is all right, but like everybody wearing one is just so like, I don't know, just.
Well, when it's all like that kind of suit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like totalitarian. It's just like kind of creepy.
Just schlubby old men and
Yeah, it was just I don't know what
warehouse suits.
I guess I never see a lot of suits in one area. It's just like, wow, men's fashion really doesn't have a lot of options, do they? It's like, well, you got to wear like if you're in that kind of high power position, like yep, you got to wear a jacket, a thing, a tie. It's like this is a little awful. Which is why I don't wear suits.
Yeah, you know what I hate though is, and this is a little bit more recent thing, is the casual rich guy thing of like suit but no tie, open collar. Hate it. Just it makes me think of a greasy guy.
I like a suit, open tie, no collar, only for this reason. I am a thermically warm person. I get a lot of warmth coming out of me. I can't. That's the main reason I will never wear. Well, I mean, I'll wear a suit. I'm not like philosophically opposed. I just don't like wearing them. Is that many layers of clothing? Hey, Alex, would you like to sweat through 9 layers?
Like, sure, yeah. I'm a sweat hog. So yes, I get it.
It is oven-like, so I just don't. Having an open collar, no tie sounds like, oh, that sounds great. I mean, that's going to lower about 7 degrees.
Ventilate my chest.
Yeah, like I don't mind looking like a douche bucket as long as I'm not that hot, because I'm going to be able to see the sweat stains through the fucking jacket at some point.
Yeah, so basically they all need to go on Sarah Jessica Parker's show and get fitted.
Yeah, I hope so.
Get some drip.
And I'll awkwardly bring up, hey, the Lady Gaga lady. I mean, I know she's not around for another 20-something years, but I liked the line. I like the whole Jack Nicholson speech of, well, 2 out of 3 branches are still working for them, and that ain't bad. And it's like, I'm keeping the schools open, the mail showing up.
Well, this is, we complained about Jack Nicholson in The Departed just eating all the scenery and being extremely Jack. Like, it's very clear that Jack Nicholson is having a lot of fun with this role and is doing some scenery chewing, but it's works in this movie. It is what this movie is.
Yes, that's the point of it.
He makes it so much more fun because he does that. I think if he played it completely straight, it's already kind of boring in some of these sections anyway, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, the thing with The Departed is they required acting to be subtle in those scenes, and he was doing the same chewy scenery as he's doing here, and it just doesn't work in the film. Yeah. Which is kind of annoying.
Which we kind of skipped over. We didn't really talk about too much. The one character in this movie that I legitimately am like, why is this person here, is Glenn Close. There seems to be, it's another one of those things of like too much, not enough, where you get this little, indication of her in Natalie Portman. And Natalie Portman's not really there anyway, but it doesn't really matter. But they kind of give Glenn Close this character of this sort of snooty, wannabe Jackie O kind of thing. But there's just, it doesn't really pay off, I think, very well.
No, I think they kept that in so they could have the joke when she gets killed and like, oh no, Nancy Reagan's chandelier that gets dropped on her. I really think they kept her earlier scenes because he liked that joke. I think if that joke wasn't there, they would have cut basically everything of her.
Yeah, I mean, because it's funny when they're attacked in bed, and she's in hair curlers and stuff like that. It's very cartoony, but yeah, I like Glenn Close a lot. It's just that character was just of all of the. She had about as much screen time as Danny DeVito's character, but somehow I just like Danny DeVito's character more, even though I'm fine with both of them dying in this movie.
Yeah. Danny DeVito is he's so powerful. Like, he's so great.
He's great, yeah.
Around here is where the aliens grab Pierce Brosnan and they chop his head off, and then it's him and Sarah Jessica Parker flirting. Well, her head is a dog body, and his head is floating.
When she responds, and the dog does that little dance, it's very cute.
Yeah,
it's a horrifying image, but you're also like, oh.
Which is it's one of those things that I think it's one of the kind of masterstrokes of Tim Burton as a filmmaker, or maybe it's just us being weirdos, but I feel like we should be stopping and realizing how fucking weird this is more often. But he's telling the story so well that you don't go, well, what the fuck? You just get into it. But if you take a second to think, you're like, oh boy, this is some weirdness.
Well, that's a little bit what I was kind of getting at earlier. Like, and eventually, a little bit later, when the Martians send this giant robot to attack a trailer park in Kansas.
Yeah,
like that doesn't sure, fine, why not? Yes, absolutely. You just gotta not you're along for this ride. He's created this bizarro world that you're like, yeah, why wouldn't this be happening now?
Yeah. This kind of leads us into what I think is the strongest part of the film, only for its sheer oddness, is where the Martians, in very Bugs Bunny dressing up as a woman style, put on a fake seductress human outfit that chews nitrogen gum and floats, ?
Yes.
Martin Short is enamored with her and tries to fuck the alien in JFK's secret fuck chamber that can be accessed by the red button from Batman the series 1966.
Well, that is actress Lisa Marie, who at the time was Tim Burton's girlfriend. She has a small role in Sleepy Hollow and was Vampirella.
Yeah, she's Vampira or Vampirella,
Vampira,
whichever it is. Yeah.
No, it's Vampire. Vampirella, I think, is
the real one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. Anyway. No, Vampirella is the barely scantily clad comic book character. But anyway, she apparently has a scar on her head from that wig, because it was like this wig upon wig, this huge contraption, and her outfit had to be sewn onto her each day, allegedly, because there's no zippers or anything. Yeah. Which I'm sure was a lot of fun. Yeah, so she shows up, and what's amazing about this scene or this sequence is that it is one of the last few bits of actual sort of story in the entire thing, because then it's just a bunch of goofball shit that happens after this. She's chewing this gum, and Martin Short takes her to the White House to show off to what he assumes is a prostitute, I guess. And then the alien, after it dispatches Martin Short, goes to try to kill Jack Nicholson, which again, why wouldn't they just blow up the White House? It doesn't matter. They think this is hilarious to do it, so let's try to do it this way. But the scene after that, where there's these scientists looking at the dead body, and then one of them goes look at this gum, it's nitrogen. Oh, so that's how they were breathing, because that's what we need explained.
Yeah.
All of this is just insanity, but it's no, but how did that alien breathe? So I feel like this movie was made for you in that way.
Yeah. Well, I actually did. I noted it before the gum scene where Pierce Brosnan's like, here's what we can tell. They're smart, possibly telepathic, and they breathe nitrogen. Qua?
Yeah.
It's so good. Also, I like how they pointed out that they don't have genitals in that one scene.
Yes.
Which I would be pissed too, and maybe I would take my wrath out on a planet of upright apes if I didn't have any genitals.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, if you didn't have any, would you miss them?
If
I understand.
Hey, audience,
believe me, I know you have genitals.
I'm talking ample. Forgetting about it. I said ample like I was from Jersey. Okay, anyway, yes. So yes, I have genitals. Nothing happened to me when I was 27, and I still have genitals.
Look, we know you close every show with, don't forget I have genitals, everybody. Yeah.
That's been John, and I've been Alex, and I have genitals.
Trust me, they're all there.
Yeah. So
I am human.
Yeah. The seduction scene of the alien lady is oh God, there's something perfect about him going, "Oh, you're so graceful," when she's walking in the most, like, every part of her is uncanny valley, and it is.
Yes.
There's something I really like that, like, 8-minute sequence, followed by her getting brutally killed, which is just because this is this movie, we're like desensitized to it, but like, oh yeah, of course that happened. That, we've spent more time with this Martian character than we spent with anybody else, and also the fact that they don't speak is great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also like she's just very creepy throughout that whole scene, both in just like when she's doing the weird sort of floaty walk, but there's one part where she's behind him in the White House, and she like moves real quick to catch up to him, and that like weird kind of like hunkering down and run sort of thing is very unnerving, but very funny.
Yeah, and I think that's where it goes, "Ooh, you're so graceful."
Yeah.
But, what was the plan there? So she was trying to seduce her way into the White House to kill the
president?
Because
I don't even know that she was planning to meet him. It seemed like she just showed up, and then he was like, "Hey, there's a pretty lady."
Like, I'm not trying to question the narrative. I mean, obviously, but there's a certain question of like, just kill them. You could send a robot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could have just blown up the White House. Yeah. But I think they're like, wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And so that's why they're doing it.
Yeah. Oh, so this is when the full-on attack happens.
Yes.
And one of the set pieces, and this is where the movie really shines, or starts to shine. And one of this part of set pieces is, I like them chopping the Washington Monument down, which is from one of those cards, and trying to drop it on a Boy Scout troop, but they run the other direction, so they catch the Washington Monument and then try to throw it the other way to drop it on the Boy Scout troop.
Yes, and then it is one of my favorite visual gags in the entire movie.
It's so fucking great.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is like all these old kind of disaster movies like Krakatoa, East of Java, and, Towering Inferno, whatever. This is like, this is where it's all happening, where Mars is finally attacking and everything's blowing up. This is what you presumably paid to see. And it's fantastic. They're blowing up. Basically, they're just blowing up Washington and Vegas. I mean, they're attacking, Kansas City and stuff like that. But the two main sites of destruction that you see are Washington and Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, they do another montage of stuff later, which we'll get to, where they leave those two confines. But those are the two. And then, Kansas or whatever. Interesting fact about, what's it, Krakatoa?
East of Java.
Krakatoa is west of Java on the actual planet. And they changed it because the studio head thought it sounded better.
Uh-huh.
If that's not how studios operate, like, if that's not a fucking, a perfect example of that, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
Sounds better that way.
Which I actually would like to see, like, studio execs of the time, like, seeing something like this for the first time. There's a story about, I think it was like David Lynch's Mulholland Drive or something, where like the guy who watched, because it was initially a pilot, like the exec who watched the pilot for it was like standing up eating cereal while watching it, and like, this isn't, like, it was just part of his day. And just like these allegedly these artless, soulless people, watching really bonkers stuff and trying to make it right in their head.
Yeah.
Is hilarious.
Well, let's pitch a reality TV show.
Yeah,
we follow weird fucking people pitching to studio directors.
Okay, first thing you got to do is go back in time. So we need a time machine.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna need two. We're gonna very tiny lesbians. They're gonna be in a box, right? All right. Now the box is gonna be sitting on a shelf. We don't know what the shelf is. Inexplicable Tom Jones, which, of course, Tom Jones is in this movie. Why wouldn't he be? The aliens dancing on stage with him is this movie, because this movie starts so slow. Like, I think the first act is not good.
Yeah.
But this is where the movie, just every second of it, I am in love. And them doing background dancing to Tom Jones is so fun. Why would you come up with that? Like, just as a creator, like, I've written some weird ass shit. Yeah. But as a creator is, all right, here's where we have Tom Jones on stage, and we'll have the aliens come down and dance behind them because we need to not kill Tom Jones. No, that's how we introduce him as like a third tier character in it. And he's going to, like, it's so, because if he had died right there, I'd be like, oh, that's a funny gag. No, this introduces him as a major character in the final third of the film.
Now Tom Jones is in the movie.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. Tom Jones is in the movie.
Why not?
Also, hey, do you know how to fly a plane? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tom Jones. Yeah, and that's also where you're introduced to lady that doesn't have lines but has big boobs that tags along with them.
Oh, yeah, she's the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other pharaoh dressed lady that's also there. Yeah.
Yeah. I got the part.
Yeah.
All right. Why not?
Now, John, it's subtle, but I don't know if you noticed. She's attractive.
Yeah.
Okay. You did pick up on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Tim Burton has a type.
Fun thing that happens here is they convinced, finally Jack Nicholson has basically given up on everything. So the general gets him to sign the order to shoot a nuke at the aliens. Mm-hmm. And the way they stop the nuke is fucking brilliant. It explodes in front of the ship. This this balloon sucks up the explosion. They bring it into the ship, Skype the president, and then take hits of the nuclear explosion from the balloon, and then ack in a really high voice like it was helium.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
The fact that they ack in a high voice is so good.
Yeah, like that is pure Looney Tune shit.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I really enjoyed that still now as much as I did then.
They do like a montage of them destroying the world. Some of the fun parts in there, or it's the Mount Ackmore where they go to Mount Rushmore and just laser it to be them, which is great.
Why not?
And then them taking tourist pictures in front of the Taj Mahal and then blowing up the Taj Mahal as they're doing it. Oh God, this must have been so much fun. And like, I think they use a bowling ball on Easter Island.
Yes, to knock over all the heads.
So they do a few more of these like kind of silly, I don't know. They shove the Eiffel Tower up something, and then Godzilla starts attacking, and they cut back to find out that they're just watching TV on the ship and watching a Godzilla movie, which is. This movie is just, it's going 100 miles an hour, and I love it at this point. And then they're like, change the channel, and they just start watching Dukes of Hazzard for a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, of course, that happens in this movie.
Yeah, why not? Which, I could believe that. I've seen some Dukes of Hazzard. I could be like, yeah, no, this society should be destroyed.
Yeah. Also, they're drinking, like, weird red martinis, too, during this whole thing.
Yeah.
Wearing their sweet Speedos. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's at this point where all the characters start dying off. Other Jack Nicholson dies during trying to present his Casino of the Galaxy. It never mattered. Like his character never mattered.
Nope, but most of the characters don't.
Yeah, but man, I had a great time hanging out with him.
Yeah, he kills DeVito. The one of the guys kills DeVito and then does the gunslinger gun spin with his dumb green gun.
Well, that's another one where it's like, we killed a lawyer, everybody. Clap your hands.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. I just thought it was just a funny kill, but yeah.
No, it absolutely is because he does the spinning gun.
Yeah, and then immediately gets killed by Jim Brown, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then the towards the end of this, and again, this is a thing that doesn't make any sense, but I love that it happens, is to buy the escaping Annette Bening and Tom Jones and other woman some time. Jim Brown goes up to fight some aliens. He's been trying to put his violent life behind him, but then he's like, all right, I'm going to go
I forgot about
these aliens.
Forgot about this plot.
He has a boxing match with one of them. Yeah. And it's very, very funny.
And it's so great that the aliens agree to it. Like, it's so their character. Like, they're just bored. They're just fucking around. And like, yeah, of course I'll box this guy.
Yeah, it just doesn't, it's so weird. But it's great because, like you said, why wouldn't this be happening now? Why not?
Yeah, and this is where they discover that shitty song kills them, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes style.
Which again, full Looney Tunes. The aliens are attacking this nursing home, and they see Manic Pixie Dream Grandma listening to the record player with her headphones on, her back to the door, and they wheel in this giant cannon and put it right behind her, and they're about to fire it off when she gets distracted and pulls the plug. But that is again, I love that whole like, yeah, we could just shoot her, but wouldn't it be funny if we did this?
Yeah. That's what's delightful about them as really deep characters is, because they're having fun.
It is just chaos. And I do think that's funny. I do think there's also a limit of how long that can just go. You know what I mean? Like this, like you said, this whole sequence was fun, but so much of the beginning stuff is a lot. There's a lot of kind of, with them, the buildup seems a little bit, some of the stuff seems a little bit more like mean spirited and stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than just,
I think this movie is about 20 minutes too long because it runs like an hour 50. I think this should be a solid 90-minute movie. Cut a lot of the beginning and then we can be a little bit more joyous with the kills and stuff. Like, I think it's just, there's a little too much for what it is. Cause especially if we're doing B movie style, that shit shouldn't be that 88 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's also just the Yeah. I don't know. It's like because some of the stuff, like the characters don't. As much as I don't like them, it just seems like the Jack Nicholson as the president death. Like he gives this sort of impassioned speech, and then it turns out the aliens just murdered him because they were going to the whole time. And it's a little bit like, yeah, no, I know the joke that's coming because I've seen it.
Well, okay, I got to say that is a good execution of it though, because I do like the music ramps up. He does a good speech. The alien does a single tear, and then does a Joy Buzzer style thing where his hand falls off, stabs him through the back, and then raises the Martian flag.
Well, that one I will at least say, like that one is a great sort of turn on the whole, like, rousing speech saves the day kind of thing. But it is just the whole like, oh, are they going to shoot this guy again? Okay, they're going to shoot him. But I wondered about that scene, if that was supposed to be, whether intentional or not, a play off of Jack Nicholson's Batman performance. Because there's that scene in Batman where he electrocutes the guy with the Joy Buzzer as the Joker.
Oh.
So now he gets his comeuppance.
Oh, good call. Because I was actually thinking Joy Buzzer too. I didn't even actually. That's so stupid of me to not put them together. Because he does the Joker smile a few times in this. Totally. Yeah. I bet you that is. Because I mean, same director or whatever. This is around where Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker, their decapitated heads roll towards each other and kiss, which is because at this point we're inured to this. This is where we are right now.
Yeah, you're happy that this happens. This is like, good.
This is the coronavirus reality of this movie, where it's like, oh, this weird ass shit. Nope, this is just our everyday life now. We're now watching headless heads kiss headless heads. That's good English, Alex. Way to go.
Well, it's kind of like how weird it is now in some cases to watch like TV shows and movies where people are like hugging and touching and stuff. And you're like, oh God, don't do that. You could get sick. This movie's been such awful destruction that when you see two heads just falling in love, you're like, okay, good. Some good is happening.
Yeah, it's so, because the thing is, you want to say headless, because you usually say headless body. You don't say bodiless head. Like it's, right. You usually refer to the body part. So it's, Yeah, they kiss, and then here's my note. The hippie, the pharaoh, and Tom Jones leave a cave so they can pet animals.
Yes.
Which is, there's something I like to...
that they're apparently going to repopulate the world right from there.
And, happily, we win. We go to a Burgess Meredith breaking his glasses-esque scene, because that looks like the same setup in the Twilight Zone episode, where they're giving away medals to Chewbacca. Well, Chewbacca didn't get one. Lucas Haas and Grandma. And I like that a mariachi band is playing the Star Spangled Banner.
Mm-hmm. That's what we got.
Jim Brown comes home. He's alive. That's good. An eagle lands on Tom Jones, and we close out with "It's Not Unusual," which inaccurate. This is an unusual movie.
This is very unusual.
Let me pitch something. So the end of our episodes, we usually do the "Hey, should we watch it?" kind of final thoughts kind of thing. Let me pitch this. Somebody out there, edit this movie and make it amazing. Because even like without cutscenes,
on the phone.
Without cutscenes, Topher Grace, fucking do this. I'm going to call you Christopher though, because your name's stupid. Christopher Grace, cut this movie into 90 minutes of awesome. Because boy, the stuff I love in this movie, I am in love with.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of just kind of sitting there. First act is just a lot of like, I mean, it was me going, oh fuck, is this movie not good? Is my memory terrible? And then when it starts getting good, it's like, nope, I was wrong.
Yeah, like, because I remember loving this movie, and as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, that like when we saw it, my mom, I was like a teen, and my family went, and my mom hated it and talked about it for years. And I'm a little bit more on her side now than I was. Like I don't unapologetically love this movie anymore. There's a lot more. I see a lot more of the cracks and what doesn't work about it, but I do still think it's fun, and I think it's worth checking out. But yeah, I think it's it could be way better.
I agree with everything you just said.
Which was me agreeing with you, so that works out well.
Well, that's why I agreed. It's the only stuff I agree with. All right, so John, here's an announcement to the kids that listen to the show. On Twitter, at JawsPod, JAHSPOD, we ran a poll. We also ran that same poll on Facebook. Look for John and Alex Hate Stuff. As to what the next movie we should watch is. We said we were going to watch Ed Wood, Planet of the Apes, or Big Fish. Before we did this, what did you think was going to win?
I thought that the ape one was going to win.
Oh, all right. So you're wronger than me.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Ed Wood, which, here, burying the lead, Big Fish one. But Planet of the Apes, I think we got, I think I didn't do the actual math, but we got like 20 votes ish, which is, pretty good for us. And Planet of the Apes, I think, only got 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 0
Good.
on Twitter. It's whatever happened on Facebook. So however many said Facebook, Planet of the Apes is what did. But yeah, Big Fish ran away with it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm excited just simply because I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, I'm excited because, I remember really liking this movie, but it's one of those movies that emotionally jerks me around, so I might be too jaded to like it now. We're going to find out.
Well, I just know people have referred to it as sort of the last good Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, and I think it's good for us to kind of do the last, kind of the last good one, because, Mars Attacks is the tweener.
I think that's really the midpoint. Because, I mean, Sleepy Hollow, I really enjoy. I still think it's very fun. And has a lot of his same sensibilities, a little bit more sort of refined, I think, which is both a good and a bad thing. But that's like, we could do a whole other episode about that. But we won't. We'll talk about Big Fish.
And those things that you told you about on the polling, we're probably going to do that again. So make sure to check out, follow us on Twitter, JawsPod, follow us on Facebook, John and Alex Hate Stuff, and we'll vote for what happens after this. Because now that we've we're diagnosing, the where it ends, I think we need to at least, we'll figure out what to watch of what happens after it ended. But, that decision will be left on you, our dearest, dearest audience.
We can't pull the trigger ourselves. We need you to do it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the thing is, we're gonna hurt ourselves. We just we'll leave it in your hands of how badly it hurts. Are we going to slit the wrist, the equivalent? Like, are we going to walk across the road of Planet of the Apes, or are we going to go down the street of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children?
Yeah, oh boy.
Which I don't even know if that's bad. I picked that one because it sounds stupid.
Yeah, well, it certainly does.
Yeah. Note to self, I've read all the books. Okay, so that's been John Alex Hate Stuff. Bye.
Bye, everybody.